I want to talk about how to solve out x in this power, what we call this power function, y equals a times x raised to the power of n. Remember here, n is actually a coefficient in the power, not a multiplier. So for example, we could say that y equals whatever $120 and a equals, let's say, 100, okay, and n equals 2. N could be any arbitrary number, not necessarily an integer. For example, n could be 1.5, 2.5, whatever. So think about this as the case example of you saving money. So and you put $100 down. So and then x could be the 1 plus the interest rate, right? 1 plus the interest rate. So n is the number of years or number of periods that your amount will grow to, and hence y will be the final ending balance of your money. So the question here is, how do we solve out this x? Right? How do we solve out x? So basically what you have here is you have y equals a times x raised to the power of n. So how can you solve out this x? To solve out this x, we can do raise the power of both the left and the right hand side of this equation to 1 over n. So why do we raise to the power of 1 over n? Because we want to make the power of x to be 1. Why? Because eventually we need to get x raised to the power of 1, which is actually x equals to a number, right? We want to solve out this x. So that's why here we actually want to raise the both sides to the power of 1 over n. So that means y raised to the power of 1 over n equals a times x raised to the power of n, and the everything raised to the power of 1 over n. So when you have raised to the power of 1 over n of this product of these two terms, and then that further equals you raise to the power of individual term, and you multiply them together. So that means x raised to the power of n, and then this further raised to the power of 1 over n. Notice here n divided by n, it will become 1. So eventually this will become y raised to the power of 1 over n, that equals a raised to the power of 1 over n, and this becomes x. So now if we shift the sides of this equation, make this to be the left and make the y raised to the power of 1 over n to the right, and what we have here is a raised to the power of 1 over n times x equals y raised to the power of 1 over n. So now I can solve out this x. X will be equal to y over 1 over n's power divided by a raised to the power of 1 over n. So now why don't we just use this example to illustrate how we actually plug in the numbers to get this x. Okay, so we can just circle this, highlight this equation, because this is the equation we were going to use to solve out x. So now if y equals to $120, a equals 100, and n equals to 2. So this will become x equals y is 120, n is 2, so that's going to be 1/2. That's my numerator, and denominator will be a raised to the power of 1/n. So that will be 100, and then raised to the power of 1/2. Remember, this actually can also be written as square root, right? Square root 120, and this will be written as square root of 100. So eventually I can plug in this into my calculator or Excel. I can get the final answer, x. So let me do that using Excel. I can get this equals 120 raised to the power of 1/2. Remember, in Excel you use the caret sign to indicate the power. So raised to the power, and you need to add the parentheses around 1/2, because otherwise Excel will just take the power first, 120 raised to the power of 1, and everything divided by 2. But that's not what you want. So you want to take the 1/2, that calculation first, and then raised to the power of that. So that's why here I added a parenthesis. And then divide that by 100 and raised to the power of 1/2 again. So eventually you'll get this number, okay, 1.095. So this will be approximately, so let me use this to indicate approximation, that equals 1.095. Okay, so this is the final answer. So now let's get to another example. So this is example from the prerequisite quiz, and you can see that even though it looks slightly different from what we have here, but it's actually the same. Why? Just notice here what you have here is $1,000 to 59.71 cents equals 1,000 times this parenthesis 1 plus r and raised to the power of 3, because it says 3 is the power, right? So basically, using the terminology we used above here, we can actually say that in this equation, y actually equals 1,259.71, and a equals 1,000. Okay, if you go back to that equation, because 1 equals a times x raised to the power of n, so a equals 1,000. And what about n? N in this example will equal to 3. So what about x? X actually in this example, that equals 1 plus r. So once you solve out this x, you can easily get this r, right, by subtracting 1 from this x. So eventually, solving out this 1 plus r, or r, will be equivalent to solving out the x in this equation. So that's why I talk about this very general form of a power function first, and then we can apply that technique to solve this equation in the area of financial applications. So now let's go back. So again, x in this case, that equals 1 plus r, right? And that equals applying this equation here, right? That's gonna be 1 y over 1 raised to the power of 1 over n, and a raised to the power of 1 over n. So since y in this case equals 1,259.71 and n equals 3, so this will be raised to the power of 1 over 3. and then a equals 1000, and then this will be raised to the power of 1/3. So eventually this will give me, we just go back to Excel and finish the calculation here. So that will be 1 to 59. Sorry, is that case? Yes, 1 to 59.71, and raised to the power of, again, I need to add a parenthesis, power of 1/3, and divided by 1000, and raised to the power of 1/3. Okay, so that's exactly what we have there. So now you can see this will be 1. If we keep two decimal places, right? Because the equation says that we need to round to nearest integer, but r is the interest rate, right? So in terms of the decimal points, we actually should keep 2, right? Because eventually r will be in the form of the like interest rate. So this will be equal to 1.08, right? 1.08. So that's going to be my answer here. But since x equals 1 plus r, so eventually we can solve out this r. R will be 1.08 minus 1. That will be 0.08. So this, if we quote this in the form of interest rate, it will be 8%. Okay, so I hope this video can be helpful for you to master the technique in solving out sort of the base. We call this the base of a power function, given the other parameters.